Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here, coming to you from my mother's house here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I appreciate you guys joining the show. Today is Saturday. Today is December 21st, and we have college football playoffs to watch today. And we had a playoff game to watch last night. Let me get your early take on that game between Indiana and Notre Dame in the Indiana State Championship last night. I thought from my take, I thought the first 5 minutes of that game, it was rather entertaining. I mean, Notre Dame busts out with that 97-yard run for a touchdown. There was a couple interceptions in that game, but I think as the game wore on, we kind of learned what we thought, was going to be the fact, and that was that Indiana was a straight pretender. Look, I was watching at my dad's house out in Sandia Park, and as I was leaving, I was like, what's going to happen? Indiana's going to score a couple touchdowns and make the score closer than what it was. 27-3 is really what the score was. I know Indiana scored some late touchdowns at the back end, but I was not impressed with Indiana at all. Notre Dame, look, I guess it's Indiana, a team that was 0-2 against top 25 teams this entire year. That's not it. So we're going to talk about college football playoffs today. We're going to talk about some Nick Saban's comments yesterday on College Game Day. I love the fact that he went after Shane Gillis. I'm sure everybody saw that. What did you guys think about Coach Saban's hat yesterday? Thumbs up for Indiana Saban. All right. Yeah, I thought he looked good yesterday. So I appreciate you guys being here. And I know everybody's eagerly awaiting updates on the three prospects that I would say are probably committed to commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide. And that's Isaiah Horton, Nikai Green, and Cam Duberry. So let's start there, and then we'll kind of work the show here. We also have T up in the house. T, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone.
All right, we got that microphone. Sounds crisp. I hope the audio is coming well. Again, I'm at my mom's house in Santa Fe, so I appreciate you. To me, it's always important to stay consistent with the show. So I appreciate you guys being here and rock with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today as we continue to cruise through the college football playoffs. And let's start with some prospects that are, I would say, favored to commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide here. And we will go, we'll start off. These are some basically trending topics. And as we work through the show, we'll talk about some of these items. But I know you want to get to the meat of the show. And look, if you guys are inside the comment box and you have questions during the show, I know a lot of you pop in, pop out. The show will probably go about 45 minutes to an hour if you're new to the show. But if you have questions during the show and I see them inside the comment box, feel free to add them and I'll get right to you. So look, Isaiah Horton is a prospect that everybody is excited about because he's a very talented wide receiver. I think he's one of the top transfer portal targets in all of college football right now. And what he would bring to Alabama's wide receiver room would be a taller wide receiver that has experience, that had a really successful season during 2024 with Cam Ward, 56 receptions. This guy, I think, would be an added playmaker to Alabama's already loaded offense. Now, while Isaiah Horton did end up staying last night in Tuscaloosa and had an amazing visit, he, I think from what I understand, he is still going to take a visit to Texas A&M. Now, that is not confirmed. But I know what is confirmed is that he did come and visit with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I think when you zoom out and you look to Alabama's wide receiver room, you're like, oh my goodness, does this mean that somebody else isn't going to play or that they're not going to get like a Casey Conception or something like that? I wouldn't say that at all. I think Alabama needs wide receivers. Look, 4 guys from Alabama just hit the transfer portal and have been finding destinations. Most recently yesterday, Kendrick Law going to Kentucky. Did everybody see that? How you guys feel about Kendrick Law going to Kentucky? Kobe Prentice to Baylor. I know Emmanuel Henderson is visiting a variety of schools, and then Caleb Odom ended up at Ole Miss. So you need to bring in some wide receivers. And right now, I'm curious to see what happens in this bowl game because they only have 4 wide receivers. And does that mean that Jalen Mbakwe is going to play at wide receiver against Michigan? In my opinion, 100% yes. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the wide receiver position. And I think that Isaiah Horton has a big decision to make, clearly, like all these guys do. And look, Alabama is not broke. I know maybe some of that message about NIL and yay, Alabama, like they have money to get a big time player like this. It's just kind of the overall scheme of how much money. And like Coach Saban was saying, where does it end? Because there's no salary cap, right? You continue to give these players as much money as possible. And that's just kind of where we're at. So let me hear from you inside the comment box. how are you guys feeling about Alabama landing Isaiah Horton? Are you guys feeling good? Are you guys kind of uneasy about it? To be honest, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm feeling pretty confident. I think if anything gives you anxiety, it's just the natural things like Texas A&M, because I would imagine they can outbid anybody just because of the disposable income that they have. So Max Tooney's saying 50-50. Angel, what's up, man? I appreciate you guys being here. On the back end of the show, we'll talk college football playoffs and talk a little bit more about Indiana and Notre Dame. It was that game was boring. Like the first part of it was rather interesting, and then after that, I don't know. I mean, Indiana. I mean, come on, like that is not one of the best 12s. You're telling me that team could beat Ole Miss. You're telling me that team could beat South Carolina. I'm past Alabama not making the playoffs. I'm past that. I've accepted that. But what we saw yesterday, that wasn't it. Hey, Roll Tide Probs, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Jarvis, what's going on? Daniel Adams, Todd Tipton up in the house. And Todd brings up a really good point. The fact that Texas A&M has brought up some receivers already, right? Mario Craver being the latest. So maybe that bodes well for the Alabama Crimson Tide in terms of bringing in Isaiah Horton, which I think when we talk 10 out of 10, that would certainly be a big impact, right? Foodie in Austin is like, who's the hell is Shane Gillis? And I'll get to that in just a second. Who saw how pissed off Saban was? If you want to go 10 out of 10, how pissed off Coach Saban was on game day, Coach Saban was like a 15 out of 10. He was, because what happened was, and I'm sure you saw this. I don't think you saw this, T, but yesterday, Shane Gillis, who's a comedian, all right, let me go to that graphic real quick because Coach Saban, I'm gonna get to these in just a minute, but let me go to this. Who saw this? Who saw this yesterday on game day? So Shane Gillis, he's a comedian, and he basically was alleging that during Coach Saban's tenure at Alabama, they cheated building these teams, right? Whether they're paying players or this and that. Saban was pissed. Saban was pissed, and yeah. So what Saban said, right? We made more money than any school in NFL by sending players to the NFL. He was like, the way that we cheated was by developing players. And I was like, and if anybody saw that, it was pretty much checkmate, because Saban brings up such a good point. And when I look back to Coach Saban's career, it was about development, right? And that was before all the NIL and all this stuff. But Coach Saban and how I saw Alabama football was development, right? Getting guys to the next level. Like, you came to Alabama to compete for national championships, but along with that, you went because of your opportunities to go to the NFL based on the brand, based on the development, based on iron sharpens iron, right? So to criticize Coach Saban in that regard, it honestly, throughout game day, Coach Saban has been the best thing about game day. You've seen their ratings climbing through the roof, but you don't mess around with that, because Coach Saban, his main thing was mentorship, coaching these guys, developing them, winning national championships at Alabama. That is the standard. So Gillis kind of backed off, kind of went beta a little bit, because I think he understood that he look, there's one thing about, messing around on a show like that. And Coach Saban is like a guy, he's a guy's guy. You can mess around with him. He can poke jokes, but like one thing that you can't poke at is the integrity of Coach Saban overall.
That's what I was going to say. That's questioning his integrity in front of, millions of people.
Yeah,
and he would never stand for that.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm sure you guys saw that yesterday, but Saban claps back, and that was a deal. So you're also looking at prospects like Nikai Green, who just visited a visit here in Tuscaloosa as well. And when you look at Nikai Green, I certainly would be really excited about him. I've spoken about him the last couple of days. He's an inside linebacker. This is a photo of him in his gear when he was at Charlotte. He's been a couple places, like most of these transfer portal guys have been. He was at Colorado most recently, where he had 76 tackles this past season. He's a thumper. And if you talk to people at Colorado, remember, I used to own a business in Boulder, right? I'm in New Mexico, close situation. And I think people would be upset to see him leave. I think this guy would be a great fit to Alabama because of the connection that you need an inside linebacker. And we've showed graphics depicting Alabama's defense next year. I would imagine, let me get your take inside the comment box. We got 3:30 up in the house. How do you guys feel about, is everybody on board that you think Deontay Lawson, can you have this, T? Do you think Deontay Lawson comes back this coming season at the inside linebacker position? not necessarily a poll. I just asked them inside the comment box. I think so. I think because of the injury, that probably would take back his draft grade, because I think before the season, Deontay Lawson is, I think, somebody who's I had him in my first round. Now, when he got injured and he clearly didn't have the season that he was anticipating to, but I would imagine that Deontay Lawson comes back, right? Exactly, Ricky Smith. What's going on? Tom G, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box as well. Steven, what's going on? That's why is if you get Nikai Hill-Green in and you get Justin Okoronkwo, in continued development, Caden Jones, Jeremiah Alexander. The one guy I don't really know a lot about right now is Jeremiah Alexander. And I sometimes players are late risers. Sometimes players aren't just good enough to get onto the field. I always felt that Jeremiah Alexander would get there at some point. I don't really understand where Jeremiah Alexander is right now at this point in time. And hopefully he has a breakthrough season, because in-state guy coming out of high school who wasn't excited about Jeremiah Alexander just hasn't been able to find his way on the field. And look, Alabama had 3 fantastic inside linebackers this year: Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, Jahad Campbell. Hard to see the field when you're playing behind those guys. So anyways, I think Nikai Hill-Green, if he does decide to commit to Alabama, I think that would probably be, I think in terms of rating the guys who have come in so far, I would go, if Isaiah Horton commits, he would be number 1. Nikai Hill-Green would be number 2. I would say Kelby Collins, number 3, number 4, Cam Calhoun. Right. And then I think another prospect that you're watching, and we'll go to him next, is it seems like Cam Duberry seems to be the lineman that could commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide out of the 2 that they were looking at. You also had Khalid Tafi out of Washington. I haven't been overly impressed, to be honest, early on with. I don't think one of these linemen is going to be an absolute game changer for Alabama. I've said that a couple times. Things can change. I just don't feel like they found. I don't think that Alabama has found their true tackle yet. Right, the transfer portal is not closed. It closes on December 28th. I would be excited about Duberry coming in terms of a reserve guy that can add some depth. He's played right guard, left guard. I still haven't seen Alabama really go after their tackle, and that just kind of leads me to believe that tackle that Alabama is looking for just isn't in the portal yet. So Tom G inside the comment box is saying Duberry was not great at Texas A&M. I'm kind of in that same boat. I hate to to kind of point out like the honest facts, but when I saw him, when you kind of dive into the Pro Football Focus grades, you watch him on tape, it's not like he's coming in and be like an absolute guy. I don't think, like, you get Michael Carroll in. I think Carroll's better than Cam Duberry. Just my take. Things can change as these players develop. They get in working with Coach Kapilovic, but I think Alabama still needs a right tackle. That's kind of what I'm sweating on when I look to Alabama's transfer portal needs. All right. One of the things that I don't have a graphic for this. I'll leave it here, but I was talking about this yesterday. So Ryan Fowler, I'm sure everybody follows him on Tide 100.9, one of the biggest in the industry, right? When you talk about, the mega stars in Tuscaloosa, these gigantic media names, he's certainly one of them and has a wonderful platform. He was saying that he heard this, T. So check this out. Did everybody see this? And someone who brought this to my attention inside the comment box is that you got my mom in the shot. Mom, what's up? We see you back there in your pajamas. It reminds me of when like Zoom started and the little kid came in, right? So Ryan Fowler said that he heard a rumor that some LSU coach, I kid you not, I have no idea if this is true, but this is out there. I'm sure you've seen it as well. LSU rented, this is the rumor, that LSU rented a lake house out in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And they like organized like a fishing trip. By the way, Lake Tuscaloosa is a hard place to fish, okay? You're not doing this unless you're like a skilled bass fisherman. But they rented a lake house and they were trying to lure like a couple Alabama players to like hang out with them, party. T.
I mean, how can they do that? Why is that?
Because number one, I don't know if it's true, but number two, it's there's no rules in like how you do this. It is completely sleazy, which kind of follows the lines around like the LSU type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's par for the course, I guess.
Obviously, they didn't land anybody, but did you guys see this as well? That like LSU reportedly like rented out a lake house.
Those lake houses out there go for a lot of money.
Don't we know somebody who would know?
We do.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's find out if this happened. But I saw that and I was laughing because somebody brought it up in the comment box, and I went to go check it out, and I was like, no way. But who knows? I have no idea but that would be absolutely hilarious. Okay, so the two additions that you do have for the Alabama Crimson Tide so far, you got Cam Calhoun and Kelby Collins. Cam Calhoun is out of Utah. He's a defensive back that is coming in, recently committed, and then you have Kelby Collins. So if you look at your good news as of late, you had Jalen Mbakwe, you had Cam Calhoun, you had Kelby Collins. Jalen Mbakwe is in the transfer portal for like an hour. Now he's playing wide receiver. Cam Calhoun came in as a defensive back. Kelby Collins, and it looks like more good news is to follow going into Christmas time. So stay close to your recruiting sites, stay close to Bama football on YouTube, stay close to the sites that you love regarding Alabama football, because I think more good news is coming. The thing that I'm kind of concerned about, and kind of going back to Saban when he clapped back, is think about this. Coach Saban started talking about college football needs a lot more parameters, and we've all agreed on that. I would love, honestly, for Coach Saban to be the college football commissioner. I think he's a guy that is rational enough and is coached enough, has enough experience to really get his arms around this and put things on track. But he brought up something yesterday talking about that NIL needs, legislation, because in different states, it's different rules for different teams, all this stuff. And I was thinking about this. I was like, man, Alabama's transfer window closes on January 5th. The regular transfer window closes on December 28th. Just hear me out. This is crazy. Let's say a running back. Let's just say Jam Miller. Or no. We used him yesterday. Let's say Richard Young, okay? Let's say he has this incredible game against Michigan. I'm talking, he gets hot and he runs for 175 and he scores 4 touchdowns. Nobody knows about Richard Young other than like our ecosystem. This guy has an outstanding game. It blows up. He's like the front line of like college football news because, RelaQuest Bowl, Alabama, Michigan, it's going to be headlines. He's basically going to elevate his brand, which he should, and you should know about him. But what he's going to do is other teams out there could start poaching him to get them to play for their team, right? After he's had this significant game. Then I was thinking, if those teams aren't able to go after him or, tamper with him, think about this. They could go back. So you have to re-recruit your players right now twice. At the end of the season, when the transfer portal window opens up, right? Go over it, restructure contracts, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But think about this. You're going to have to re-recruit these prospects again during the spring transfer portal window, right?
Yeah.
So like when spring football ends, you have to basically go back to you have to open your door up and have these guys come in, because none of these guys have signed a contract for NIL. That's how broken the system is. And, Coach Saban was talking about the fact that Penn State's backup quarterback, he left before the playoffs. That's how broken the system is. So I don't know, what should happen overall, but there's so many areas that are broken. And I'll talk on the back end of the show about Indiana and Notre Dame. There's no way that Indiana should have been in the playoffs. That was ridiculous. It's fun to see these playoff games, but Indiana was not a playoff football team, period. They were not. And it's disappointing that they took someone else's place. Did they take Alabama's place? I don't know. Alabama only scored 3 points against Oklahoma. My point is there was no way that Indiana was a playoff team. So I'm going to stand on that. I don't like that. Alabama currently has 14 players in the transfer portal. Recently, they've had some guys commit to other schools. Kendrick Law going to Kentucky. What was your thoughts on Kendrick Law going to Kentucky? Look, out of all these guys, they're going, again, this is my opinion. Outside of Caleb Odom going to Ole Miss, which I think Ole Miss is relevant. It's, Lane Kiffin, they got the offense. most of these other guys are going to, I would say, like lesser tier programs. And I feel if these guys would have just been patient and stayed here, I don't know if, these guys want to play, these guys want opportunities, but I don't know. I mean, Kobe going to Baylor, I guess that's interesting for him. Kendrick Law going to Kentucky. Maybe, that helps him out. I saw Miles McVay committed to Bill Belichick, but I don't know. It's just, I haven't even seen a recent update on Justice Haynes. Have we seen where Justice Haynes is going? I don't know. Ebony Carter, what's up? We see you inside the comment box. Trainwreck, what's going on, man? I appreciate you being here. Max Tooney, what's going on? Ricky Smith, Bruce Watson. Yeah, when I saw that about Kendrick Law going to Kentucky, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they can be in a more elevated role than they were here at Alabama. I don't know.
Well, Ricky says it perfectly. He's saying these guys want to play right now. They're just, they can't be patient.
Yeah, I get that. And what's crazy about this is if Alabama ends up getting the wide receivers we think they're going to get. Like, I have a graphic coming up here. This is I like to show this graphic. Ryan Williams down here at the bottom. You can't really see him. He's right here. But these wide receivers that I have up top, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with these wide receivers right here. And look, I didn't even add Casey Conception. I don't know where he's going to go. I haven't even heard an update on him. But look at these wide receivers. And this would be a 5-wide set, which they're not. I don't think they're going to run this. I'm just saying when you put wide receivers on the field in situational football, whether it's Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, Cole Adams, maybe Jalen Mbakwe, whoever you want your quarterback to be, Jalen Hell, Ryan Williams, like, I feel good about that. I'm not going to miss some of those other guys. I wish them well, but, hard to play if you're just, not the best wide receiver on the field. Ricky Smith is saying KC ain't want the competition. That's competition right there. That is hella competition. And we've been spending time on the wide receiver position, because I think when you look to Alabama's wide receiver room and what it could be in the future, you get excited about it. Like, all these guys are going to be healthy, and right now they are not healthy. And these guys, look, you have 4 guys that are injured right now and 2 guys that aren't even here. So that's why you're going to probably see Jalen Mbakwe catch a touchdown against Michigan or something crazy like that. But if Isaiah Horton comes on and Jeremy Bernard, it looks like he's going to stay. This is an A+ wide receiver room, 100%. This is an A+ wide receiver room, right? Eddie, what's up, man? Eddie's Wesley's like, I cannot believe that Kendrick Law went to Kentucky. I know, me too. Crazy. Let's I'm gonna go over some roster management, but first I want to get your take on these upcoming college football playoff games real fast. And I was thinking about it. So you have 3 college football games. So T, let's post a poll right here inside the comment box, and then I'm gonna go over some roster management real fast. All right. Let's see. Who's most likely to be upset today? And I'm talking, so this is how you word the poll. Who is most likely to be upset today in your college football playoffs? Is it Texas? You put number 5 Texas hosting Clemson. Hey, Chance, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Plain Truth, what's going on? Mike Fort, what's going on? Number 8, Ohio State hosting Tennessee. And, Coach Saban was talking about Ryan Day yesterday, and I started thinking about that too. It's like, this guy doesn't win big games, but I think he wins this one. And I think if he doesn't, he's probably being let go. Look, Ohio State needs to be performing at a higher level with everything that they have at their disposal, all their NFL type guys. Like, you could say they lose this game, they're underachieving 100%. And then you could say Penn State hosting SMU. And you could see the first game that we have on tap here coming up at 11 Central Time is SMU at Penn State. I don't necessarily see an upset today. I personally think Ohio State's able to beat Tennessee. I think they know what they're playing for. Go ahead and vote inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys. T, can you read Ramak and his hot take he has on there when you see it?
Yeah, he's saying whoever wins between OSU and Tennessee doesn't matter. It's not an upset either way. I think you play that game 10 times and get like 50-50 results.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. I think that I might have to disagree here. I feel that with everything that Ohio State has on its roster, considering the game is in Columbus, I see Ohio State as a clear favorite in this one. I think this is a team that I still can't believe that they lost to Michigan. I think they should have even won that game against Oregon. That's the thing about Ryan Day is he has had a hard time finding consistency with his team. I think they are a better team overall than Tennessee. With that said, I mean, Tennessee's got their quarterback's playing at the right level. He's playing much better. Their running back, Dylan Sampson, my goodness, that guy's an absolute beast. And Tennessee's defense is legit. So I think on the road will present challenges, but I do think Ohio State wins. This Penn State SMU game, I would imagine that Penn State runs the table here against the Mustangs. And if you look to Penn State in kind of this tournament bracket, you look to their next opponent, if they are to beat SMU, they got Boise State. Things set them up pretty well for Penn State. And I was thinking on the downside of the bracket too, with Notre Dame beating Indiana, Notre Dame now takes on Georgia without Carson Beck. Let me ask you, fam, inside the comment box, is there anyone out there that feels that Notre Dame has an opportunity to beat Georgia or a chance to beat Georgia? I don't know. Look, Roll Tide Probs, this is interesting because I do feel that Notre Dame, they look pretty good, but it's just I don't like Indiana. I didn't think that's hard, but
Yeah,
Alex Wilder is saying
Indiana
hell no.
Georgia.
Okay, Georgia all day maybe. See, I think you take Georgia. Even with the backup quarterback, I think the line slides down a little bit. But yeah, I'm taking Georgia. T.
Yeah, I mean, well, Mike Fort thinks that Notre Dame has a decent chance.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I just want to get your take. Continue to vote inside the comment box. I appreciate it. Let me go over some roster management real quick. What's going on, fam? I appreciate you guys. Full screen. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, for the holidays, for Christmas. I will be still having my live shows, content that I will produce from here at my mom's house. So I appreciate you guys rocking with us during the holiday season. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And as news happens, I got you posted right here on Bama Football on YouTube. What I wanted to show Case as well is in terms of when we talk roster management, I think from a roster management standpoint, this is how I have Alabama right now when I list out the grades for Alabama along with their positional needs. And as you can see by the board right here, the right tackle, I feel that is the biggest area of concern and something that is really holding back and could hold back Alabama's offense from being what it wants to be this coming season. So I strongly feel that they figure out something at right tackle. I just feel that they haven't been aggressive because I don't think they have seen the guy that they absolutely want at the right tackle position. I have the inside linebacker as a B and listed as a priority because I explained Deontay Lawson coming back. I would imagine that Nikai Hill-Green, if he comes in, you elevate that position. I think right now the best position overall, and I'm going to run through some graphics, I feel that the running back room is very strong, very healthy room. I feel that the wide receiver room, look, you get Isaiah Horton. Even if you don't get Isaiah Horton, I think that you're in a good position wide receiver wise, just because look, Jeremy's coming back, Ryan Williams coming back, Jalen Hill, nobody knows how good this guy is really going to be. Just wait. You got some guys coming in that will contribute in some way or form, but I think sometimes we forget about the guys that are already on the roster. Like, I mean, Jalen Hill, Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams, like these guys are already proven guys. Just wait on Hill. Just wait. You'll see it. And then I think, I feel good at the corner position, but if Damani leaves, you're going to have to figure out who can play that other corner. Will it be Cam Calhoun? Will it be a young freshman like Dejon Lee? Will it be, a transfer vet like Deshaun Jones? I don't know. Matthew Pate, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining us. When you look at Alabama's offense and what could be, we've thrown up these graphics a couple times. You could swap out that slot position wide receiver with Cole Adams, which is probably more likely if we were to get to the season. You can put your quarterback however you wanted your quarterback to be. I have it Proctor, Carroll, Brailsford, Roberts, Pritchett, Cuevas. I mean, the offensive line probably isn't going to be like that. I don't know if Michael Carroll will be developed enough to start over, like, I don't know, if they go with like a Cam Duberry or a Geno Vandermark. There's going to be competition there. Just basically putting you a graphic so you can start building your own offensive line and things that we will watch going into the season. I did the same thing for the defensive side. When you look to Alabama's defense, we have a position battle, I think, at the bandit position. And what I've done is I've moved Cavante Henry out to that wolf position, and I've slid in Keon Keeley. So some of these graphics I'll continue to update going forward. But as you can see at the safety position, you look good with Keon Sabb and Bray Hubbard. I would imagine we continue to see development with Drake Kirkpatrick. The quarterback room, as of right now, going into this game against Michigan, this is what it looks like. I would imagine that we see the same type of offense, which, I get it, might be frustrating for you. Alabama has to do what it's going to have to do to be able to beat Michigan. Alabama has to beat Michigan. This is a critical, look, call it an exhibition game, whatever. I'm going to continue to harp on this. Come December 31st, Alabama better beat the brakes off Michigan. There is no way you lose to Michigan in this game. Like you do everything in like, I don't want like some sort of quarterback rotation or something like you beat Michigan, because guess what? You lose against Michigan. It will still be bad. Things like you lose to another unranked team. The transfer portal window is right behind you. Right? You're going to get negative press in the media. Do not lose to Michigan. The better you beat Michigan, all the better. Why do you hope Milroe is gone? Bama 205 with something. No, I think Milroe's gone. I mean, I think he's waiting to announce after the bowl game that he will leave. So here's what the quarterback room will look like in 2025 when Jalen Milroe does go to the NFL. Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell. And I think when you continue to talk about Milroe, what fans want is they want to see Coach Kalen DeBoer's true offense, right? They want to see a quarterback that can really utilize Coach Kalen DeBoer's offense. And I've showed graphics before depicting on how many opportunities different wide receivers had, along with, the running back as well, right? Under Coach Kalen DeBoer in 2023, they had a running back run for 1,200 yards, and they have 5 wide receivers that caught for over 400 yards. So that is the type of production that I think Coach Kalen DeBoer wants to get to, and I think these quarterbacks right here on the board can do that. Did you guys see the video with Coach Kalen DeBoer talking to Keelan Russell and telling them that he's won a national award? It's pretty cool. It's like FaceTiming. They're talking to each other. Keelan Russell, this guy is going to absolutely be the guy. Look, I don't want to start a quarterback war, but I just want to get your early assessment. T, this will be another poll right here. Who do you think will be the starting quarterback next year for Alabama? Just your early take. You don't have to put too much context in it, but who do you think will be the starter out of these 3 guys? I think if I had to pick the starter right now going into spring game, it's definitely Ty Simpson. And I don't think that has to do with entitlement. I just think right now the guy has more of the playbook, more of an understanding, but I think there's certainly going to be a competition at that position. Now, will that competition lead into the season? I really hope not. I don't like when that happens. I like when you go in knowing who your quarterback is going to be. But I think, if you've been following Alabama football a long time, I think that, you probably understand why Ty Simpson would be the favorite. And that's no disrespect against Austin or Keelan Russell. It's just we know the offense, and I think there's a lot of people that want to see Ty get a shot. T, people asking you if you got a new microphone.
We did, yes. Thank you again, Marcus, for the contribution towards it.
Yeah, no doubt, Marcus. We sincerely appreciate it, man. So hopefully she's sounding nice and clear. Our mics are only coming out of our right ear.
Left ear, so I'm not even wearing my headset right now.
But yeah, we appreciate you. 205 is saying you think Ty is going to change his number if he wins the job. I don't know. He's been rocking with that number, right? 15 for quite some time. Carter Productions, hey Kyle, any update on Isaiah Horton? Yo, so I talked about some of the transfers inside the at the beginning of the show, and feel free if you jump into one of the shows and we're not where you want to update, just post it inside the comment box. I know you guys can't stay for an hour. You guys have different things to do. So for this particular update, the latest Carter Productions, this is for you. The latest is on Isaiah Horton is that he had a fantastic time in Tuscaloosa, that Alabama would be willing to meet his requirements in terms of the NIL, playing time, all that sort of stuff. Really good time. Stayed the night last night in Tuscaloosa. We are unsure at this point in time if he is going to go to Texas A&M. I would stay close to the guys who are the mega recruiting stars in the Alabama industry. But from what we gather, what we understand, it looks like Isaiah Horton is trending towards Alabama. Things change if he goes to Texas A&M. I would imagine he gets a killer NIL deal. So that's kind of what we're waiting. I think it's a 2-horse race between Alabama and Texas A&M. I hope that answers that for you. I appreciate you being here. JM12 Green, how is the weather in New Mexico? In Alabama when we left, it was how it was 50s. There's been some couple mornings where it's been pretty cold. over here, it's been nice. I think the high today is 56 degrees. My mom's house is at 7,200 feet elevation. My dad's house is at 7,500 feet. It's like up in the mountains. So no, the weather's been quite nice today. We're going to watch some college football and just kind of hang out here. When looking at more roster management right here, I love the running back room, and I know you guys do too. We always bring up this board and we show you how healthy the running back room is, right? You have Justice Haynes who transferred out. I don't think there's another program in the country that could lose a running back like Justice Haynes and be just as talented, right? And that's it. That's just the facts. I mean, we hyped up Jam yesterday. We continue to tell you about Richard Young. If you're really dialed into the program, you understand what Richard Young already brings to this team. Daniel Hill, we haven't seen a lot of opportunities from him. He's a bigger style back, 220 pounds. I would imagine he might be the biggest back on the team. Kevin Riley, a guy out of Tuscaloosa County High School, actually. And when he got some opportunity, he's really fast. Like, he's got a lot of speed. And then, of course, A.K. Deere will be the running back coming in, in this class of 2025. When we look to, we talked about the wide receivers, so I don't know if we'll spend too much time on the wide receivers right now, but here's a tight end room right now, guys playing in the bowl game. And remember, it's important to note that Danny Lewis, he pulled his name out of the transfer portal. So when you look to Alabama's tight end room for this coming season, you have Danny Lewis, Josh Cuevas, Jay Lindsey, Ty Lockwood, and then Alabama bringing in two with Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett. Important to know right here about Marshall Pritchett. I think Marshall Pritchett is showing up either this next week to campus. So he'll be able, so Marshall Pritchett, Luke Metz, and Daryl Duke Johnson will be able to participate in the ReliaQuest Bowl practices. Now, they can't play in the game, but imagine just coming in from high school and now you're like practicing with the Tide.
Yeah, that's got to be really cool.
Yeah, so
I remember seeing Ryan Williams do that last year, right, at the Rose Bowl.
No,
who was it?
Ryan Williams didn't get here to the summer. Actually, that's what makes Ryan Williams' story even so crazy.
That's right.
Because he didn't get here to the summertime, but it was Julian Sane.
That's right.
We saw Julian Sane and Stephen Cash. What's up, Meemaw? Stephen Cash inside the Common Box. That's my F3 brother right there. So we appreciate you, man.
Got
What's
that
going
by
on?
the Motown.
Yeah, got that by the Motown. Stephen Cash, man, this guy, I'm telling you, this guy inside the Common Box, my good friend. He lives in Northport, and really good friend. We went and had fireworks at his house this past year.
Yeah.
And we blew it up.
Almost blew up the neighbor's house.
But the tight end run looks good. And I was saying that Marshall Pritchett on your far right, he'll start practicing with the Alabama Crimson Tide here coming up. It'll be an amazing opportunity to be here. You're talking about will Ty Lockwood be there? Ty Lockwood already on campus. He's clearly a redshirt sophomore. I haven't seen too much of Ty Lockwood, to be honest, but I'm excited to see Jay Lindsey. He's another guy up in the ranks. And this is the graduation years kind of reflect for 2025. We spent some time on the wide receivers. You see a lot of transfers here, right? Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, those guys coming back. Kobe Prentice going to Baylor, Kendrick Law going to Kentucky, Emmanuel Henderson, unsure. I think he's visiting a variety of places. Caleb Odom going to Ole Miss. Rico Scott, a guy who caught a touchdown this past year from Austin Mack, and then Cole Adams, who was injured. Here's a look at the wide receiver room. This next year, we added Jalen Mbakwe to this room and still waiting to see if they get Isaiah Horton or Casey Conception. And as you can see from this graphic, this room's good. Like, you don't get Horton, you're fine. Like, you're going to be in a good position if Jeremy Bernard comes back. So I really like the wide receiver room. And when you look to Alabama's wide receiver room going into this game against Michigan, you only have 4 guys who are healthy: Jaron Hamilton, Rico Scott, Ryan Williams, and Jeremy Bernard. That's why you're going to see opportunities with Jalen Mbakwe be playing in this upcoming game. Now, here's a look at the offensive line room. Now, I would imagine Cam Newberry might be a name to commit next to join this room. How do you guys feel about Alabama's offensive line right now, besides missing a right tackle? Do you guys feel good about the way that Alabama's offensive line looks in 2025? I'll tell you why I like the offensive line right now. The number one reason is Parker Brailsford's coming back. The number 2 reason is Caden Proctor's coming back. The number 3 reason is Jaden Roberts. I hope and I pray that he's healthy for this next season. That means you have 3 returning starters, okay? Now, the 4th reason that I'm excited about it is because I really am excited about, you guessed it, another 5-star in Michael Carroll. What I saw from Michael Carroll on film this guy is a 5-star. I think he is as equally important to Keelan Russell at the quarterback position to your guard position. The only problem is the right tackle. It was not properly developed. Maybe that'll be the case this next year now that Coach Kapilovic has a year to work with these guys. I don't know if it's a talent thing, but man, if you don't fix the right tackle position, you're going to be running into the same type of issues that you ran into last year. And it's going to prohibit this offense to really execute at the highest level. So Elijah Pritchett, Wilcom Formby, all eyes on you guys in terms of being in the gym, being developed, and having a breakthrough season. And maybe that's Alabama's strategy, which I don't think it is. I think you absolutely need to go and get the best right tackle off the board whenever that offensive lineman comes up. Alabama's defensive line for next year probably look like this: Tim Keenan, James Smith, Damon Payne. I still don't know why his paperwork was nullified at Michigan. In case you missed it, Damon Payne transferred to Michigan, and then like one day later, the paperwork was nullified. That's been like the only case we've seen that.
Yeah, I missed that. I don't. So why would that happen?
I don't know. I have maybe like some like the transcripts didn't like connect or something.
And what does that even mean? His paperwork was nullified.
Basically, just like it was like canceled. Yeah. So I mean, we really don't know. How do you got the defensive line? I think you need somebody in here. Look, Stephen Buick to the bottom right. You can't see his name. This is the guy like right up top of me. He's coming in. He has some experience. Remember, he's the guy who went to Southwest Mississippi Junior College. He was committed in last year's class. He didn't necessarily. I don't think he reclassified. I think he just basically went the junior college route. Is coming back. I don't know how I feel about this defensive line right now. I think you need somebody to come in, and Kelby Collins will be coming in as a bandit position player. But while I like Tim Keenan and James Smith, I think you need to add a piece here. And you saw Gabriel Brownlow committed to Texas A&M. So something to track as we go forward with roster management. This is your bandit position. As you know, you have Kelby Collins, who is a new addition, just committed from Florida, recently as a transfer portal guy. I think Cavante Henry, I don't know. I'm going to have to do some digging. I don't know if Henry's going to play bandit or if he's going to play the wolf position. I have no idea. He's the guy on the far right. Jameer Lathan, he's a redshirt senior, but because of this COVID year, he could come back. So really strange with all that COVID stuff. And I imagine that LT goes to the NFL. Here's your wolf position for next year. Quay Rusaw, Yanze Pierre, Noah Carter, Jayshon Ross, Justin Hill. This room, these are where all your athletic guys, all these guys are super freaks, okay? This Justin Hill kid coming in, Noah Carter, Jayshon, nobody knows about Jayshon Ross. He's good as well. And then Yanze Pierre. It's like, look at all these guys. See, we need to update these. Quay and Yanze next year will be red shirt sophomores. Okay. And then Noah will be a red shirt freshman. Yeah. So that would be the same, but Justin Hill is a 2005 signee. Inside backer room. This is what it looks like right now, unless you get Nikai Hill Green, right? Linebacker situation. Look, Coach Saban said a long time ago that Justin Okoronkwo would have been a 5-star if he played in the United States. Remember, he came in from Germany. Caden Jones, don't sleep on him. I think he actually had more tackles than Justin Okoronkwo. We spoke about Jeremiah Alexander, and then I think Deontay Lawson comes back. We added QB Reese, too. Don't forget about QB Reese out of Birmingham. We talked about the corners. Here's a look at the corners. If Damani Jackson goes to the NFL, Cam Calhoun, Xavier Brown, Deshaun Jones, Zay Mincy, Dejon Lee, Chuck McDonald. I like the room. I don't know where Zay plays. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he moves to safety. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he has the size to do that. Safeties this past season look like this, and then going into next season, you got Keon Sabb, King Mack, Bray Hubbard. I would imagine for this game, King Mack is going to start along with Bray Hubbard. So at that safety position, right? So there we are. And then you have Ivan Taylor coming in, Drake Kirkpatrick, Cam Howard. Didn't see too much of him. And then Red Morgan lists him as a safety position player, right? Let me run through real quick. Kimberly brings up a good one thing that I haven't really discussed, and sometimes I show it, sometimes I don't. But this recruiting class, I'll just kind of fly through it real fast, but kind of show you when you start to look at Coach Kalen DeBoer and what he was able to do in terms of recruiting, he did a fantastic job building out this recruiting class. A couple of these guys real fast, so you can kind of understand the magnitude of these guys. I mean, when you look at all these stars, the last final piece with Derek Meadows, right? When Derek Meadows committed to Alabama on the far back end of the day, that was a gigantic pickup. And from my understanding, Ty Haywood, I think he's still committed to Alabama. We just don't know if he's going to commit with the Alabama Crimson Tide. There's a huge California connection when you look to what Coach Kalen DeBoer has been able to do, having those West Coast ties, right? Dejoun Lee, Jackson Lloyd, Chuck McDonald, Caleb Edwards, Cavante Henry, Abdul Sanders, Alex Oshbroff. Signing 6 from California was something that he brought in because of his West Coast ties. Dejoun Lee is a guy we're all excited about, like a 6'4" corner. You bring in Keelan, I'm going to always do that. Keelan Russell as the number 1 player in the entire country, which is, look at his numbers. I think he ended up throwing for over 7,000 yards during his career because he had that final playoff game, right? Michael Carroll, we talk about him, Dejoun Lee, right? Jackson Lloyd. That's why, like, when you go back and look at Coach Kalen DeBoer's first year, look at the guys that he brought in, right? I mean, this is a hell of a recruiting class. Yeah. A.K. Deere, right? Justin Hill, baller. Ivan Taylor, baller. Chuck McDonald. Coach Lindquist, really excited to get him in. Same high school as Bryce Young. Daryl Duke Johnson, about to be here on campus early enrollee in December. Caleb Edwards, a tight end, right? 4-star out of California. Cavante, this is one of my sleepers for this year, okay? You got Latsier Brooks, made Sports Center not one but twice, right? Scored like 100 touchdowns in New Jersey. Micah DeBose, he's one of the 2 in-state prospects that they picked up. Marshall Pritchett, as I mentioned, he'll be on campus now. Luke Metz will be here as well. Steve Mbua, talked about him from a defensive line perspective. Abdul Sanders out of Los Angeles, inside linebacker. London Simmons out of Mississippi. Mal Waldrop out of Phoenix City, Alabama. And then Alex Oshbroff, who was a prospect that signed as a punter. So that's what, Coach Kalen DeBoer is bringing in his first, recruiting class. And I'll say this, I think that this next season is really going to show us Coach Kalen DeBoer's early, this will start to be like his program, right? You have a lot of guys starting to cycle off from Coach Saban, but this is your first recruiting class. This is something that you worked hand in hand with Courtney Morgan to build. I think where I'm concerned about a couple different areas, the right tackle position, I think defensive tackle, that's an area of concern, but also this upcoming football schedule. I think, as I continue to say in my last couple shows, this coming schedule is going to be much more challenging than this past year's schedule. Trying to make the playoffs is always going to be hard in the SEC, period. And that doesn't mean that you're not one of the best 12 teams, but the way that the college football playoffs are formatted, not the 12 best teams don't get in. And case in point was last night with Notre Dame and Indiana. I like the story of Indiana. I know their coach came from James Madison and they won some games this past year, but the college football system is broken in terms of make the playoffs. We all know that there was 3 more deserving teams that could have made that playoff spot, but look, those 3 playoff teams lost against SEC competition. And don't lose late. Alabama should have never lost against Oklahoma. Ole Miss, they should have never lost against Florida. And South Carolina, they lost to Alabama head-to-head. And that's kind of the, banging of the parity in the SEC. Today, you have more playoff games. I'm excited to check them out. I can't wait to see, the results and the outcomes and the eventual winner of the college football playoffs. I am interested in that. But what has happened is you no longer care about any other bowls. The only bowl we're excited about is the ReliaQuest Bowl, just because it has ties with Alabama. So, I appreciate you guys rocking with me. As news happens, I got you covered. So if there's like a breaking story on a commitment, as soon as I could set up and go live, we'll be talking about them. We'll be breaking them down. I appreciate you guys being here. Enjoy your college football Saturday. Be where your feet are at. Spend time with your family. Christmas is next week. I hope that everything is lined up for you to have a wonderful Christmas with your family. For those overseas that are serving this great country that can't be with their family, know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. We understand here at Bama Football on YouTube that freedom isn't free. So we always appreciate, it's always Veterans Day here on Bama Football. The final thing is, please listen to my next statement. Please, attention, eyes up. Coach used to say that, eyes up. All right. Okay. Special shout out to Jenny Cackney, who is battling stage 4 cancer. Okay. She needs all the love and support from you. And Jenny, if you're out there, okay, we are thinking about you. There's a emoji. There's a cancer emoji inside the comment box, and get it. The holiday season can be tough for people going through difficult things. All right, Jenny Cackney, We are going to get as many roll tides and as many cancer emoji inside the comment box, okay, right now. And if you could lift her up, fam, inside the comment box, I would really appreciate that. And so would Jenny. So, Jenny, we are thinking about you today. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Keep fighting the good fight. Stay positive, right? And know that Bama football on YouTube, that we have your back, okay? So we're thinking about you on this day, Saturday, December 21st. You are, so important to us here at Bama football on YouTube. Fam, please drop a roll tide for Jenny inside the comment box. And if you're going through anything out there, remember, keep pushing forward. You got this. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. As news happens, we got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for joining today. Thanks for watching. Please hit the thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed the broadcast. From T, from myself, from all of us here at Bama Football on YouTube, we love you. We appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you up with you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam. Love you guys.